Hey guys, welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to do an exercise together that is designed to help you understand better the middle game positions that come out of any opening you play. And this is something that I do with my students, guys, and I like it a lot. And to make it more entertaining, I use this table which, when we finish the exercise, is going to tell you, if you do it properly, it is going to tell you your strength or at least your performance for this exercise. So let me show you quickly what we need and how you do it, because I want you to do it with me now, but also I want you to use it yourself from time to time, and you will see that it is going to help you with your chess in general. So basically, this is what you need. You need this table in front of you, and I'm going to explain to you how it works. And you need to find a game played by a grandmaster. And this has to be a game, guys, where the grandmaster uses the opening that you play. So if you typically play the Caro-Can, you want to find a game where a grandmaster played the Caro-Can as a black pieces. Now, for this specific lesson, I picked a game played by Magnus Carlsen, where he used one of the openings that we've been discussing in this course. And the reason why this is important is because I need you to be familiar with whatever opening we're going to use. So in this case, let me show you first the first few moves that Magnus did, and then I'm going to tell you more about this exercise. So the game started with e4. Magnus has the black pieces, so d6, d4, knight f6, knight d2, g6, knight g2 f3, bishop g7, bishop d3, castle, castle, and then knight c6 for the black pieces, and then c3 for the white pieces. Guys, as you can see, the black pieces, Magnus is playing the Pirc defense. And by the way, some of you have told me that I've been pronouncing Pirc wrong, and it is true, but I learned how to pronounce it in Spanish many years ago, and it really gives me a hard time trying to pronounce it the right way. So I don't think you really mind it, but I understand it could be annoying, so my apologies, guys, if that's your case. But anyhow, this is what we're going to do in this exercise. Once you have the game in front of you, this game that I picked is only 18 moves long. Now, when you find the game, you're going to go through it up to the point where the theory stops. Like for me, I'm gonna call it here because all of us know the first moves for this opening. And knight c6, even though we have never talked about it, now you know that it is possible. So we're learning more about this opening. We talked about bishop g4, we talked about c6, but Magnus decided to do knight c6. And guys, just quickly here, we're not afraid of d5, because remember, typically when they push the central pawns without being challenged by another pawn, they leave weaknesses. So that's why you're not going to see people pushing d5. Now in this game, they just went c3, and then from this moment on, I need you to guess every move that the black pieces did. And this is what you're going to do. If you're doing it on your own, once this theory is done, you need to try to guess every single move that the person did from now on. And then when you're done, we're going to count how many you got correct, and we're going to calculate your percentage. And using this table, if you look on the left, you're going to see your strength or your performance for this exercise. So I'll put an example here. I know this is basic math, but just in case. At the end of the exercise, you're going to put whatever amount of moves that you got correct, you're going to put it where the question mark is. We're going to divide it by 12 because this game, again, it has 18 moves. 6 of them are theory. We're just going to guess 12 of them. So whatever we got correct divided by those 12 times 100 is going to give you your percentage. Like for instance, if you got 5 correct divided by 12, you're going to get this, multiply by 100, and you got your percentage. When you look at the table on the left, you're going to see you're in the 40s. So this is going to be your strength or your performance. Guys, before you tell me what most of my students tell me, I know that this might not be as accurate, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that if you do this consistently, trust me, you're going to get to know the middle game positions that come out of your openings, and you're going to improve your chess in general. So just for this time, try it with me and let's see how it goes. So after pawn to c3, it's your turn to guess the next move that Magnus did. And guys, I'm going to really ask you to pause the video and try to think about the moves. I chose this game because many of the moves that he did are unexpected. So don't feel like you're going to be like, oh, I think I'm going to do this and that, and you're going to get it right. It's not going to be like that. We only have to guess 12 moves, but it is Magnus, so these are going to be very, very interesting moves. So anyways, the next move here for black was pawn to e5. We know that we're supposed to strike the center in this opening. That's the main idea once we get to the middle game. So e5 happened. If you got it correct, then keep track of it, because at the end, we're going to find your percentage. So e5 happened. the white pieces just went pawn to h3. They don't want us to do bishop g4. And now a very interesting move here that Magnus did. I don't think you're gonna find this one, but let's see. The move that he did was knight h5. And this is a move that you're going to see it a lot in the Pirc defense, the King's Indian defense, but in this specific position, it is even more effective. And the idea is that now the bishop is open and we have 3 attackers on d4, but on top of that, this knight is ready to come to f4 since the bishop is blocked by its own knight. And then another thing that I wanted to mention here, I don't think Magnus did it because of this reason, but many times in the King's Indian defense or the Pirc, when we move the knight, we're trying to do f5. But guys, we want to do that when the center is locked. In this case, the center is not locked, so they could just take, open up lines to attack our king. So if this pawn were here on d5, then we move the knight, we do f5 because the center is locked. So for the most part, we only do f5 when the center is locked. So anyways, after knight h5, the white pieces took, and now black pieces to move again. I'm 99% sure that none of you is going to get this next move either, because most of you are going to be busy trying to decide if you should take with the bishop, with the pawn, with the knight. And Magnus instead said, you know what, there's no rush to take that pawn. I'm going to put my knight on f4. Very dominant position, it comes with a tempo, and only then he might think of taking that pawn. So knight f4, bishop b5, and now we need to take that pawn, guys. Should we take with the bishop, pawn, or knight? Well, he decided to take with the knight because first of all, we're bringing pieces towards the king side and we don't want to get double pawns. So knight e5, now the white pieces took on e5, and another interesting move here that Magnus did. Instead of picking up on e5 right away, he went queen g5. So we're threatening checkmate in one move, and that's why he did not take right away. So if you paused the video and you found that move, then congrats, because this is a very nice one to find. So knight g4, and instead of now collecting on g4, instead of doing h5, he simply picked his material back. So give me the piece. Now material is even again, but he has a very dominant knight, a very powerful queen, and he just has to be better in this position. Now finally, the white pieces went knight b3, opening the bishop to hit the knight. And now guys, this next move, you should be getting this one because we have to do something about that knight. And the move that he did was knight e2. Check, the king needs to move, and we have to be careful with these moves because the knight is getting too deep into the territory and we might get in trouble and lose the knight. So king h1, of course we do not want to trade our powerful knight for a bishop that hasn't developed. So instead, he developed his own bishop and he took this knight on g4. For starters, we're getting rid of a defender of the king side, we're making him get double pawns, and we're opening lines to attack that king. Now guys, at this moment, if you haven't been pausing the video up to this point, fine, but this is a good moment for you to just take some time and try to come up with a plan. The black pieces, this is already move number 15, so try to evaluate the position and try to come up with a plan. The next move here for the black pieces was rook a to e8. So this rook is doing nothing and we're putting pressure through the semi-open file. Now here, if you came up with the move rook f to e8, you should also count that as correct. You should get a point for that. Because I'm sure that if you put this position on the engine is going to suggest rook f to e8 as well. And that's something else that you should do. If you're doing this on your own and you think you found a move better than what the Grandmaster did, you should put it on the engine. If the engine says that you're correct, then you should get a point for that. Rook a to e8, then bishop e3, and this is an easy point for you guys. The rook came here for a reason. We're going to follow through and get that pawn. And then finally, the white pieces are going to put pressure on the knight, but now it is too late. Black pieces to move, and by now you should know what the next move is for the black pieces, guys. We have checkmate in 2 moves. If you didn't see it, then pause the video right now, try to find it. If you pause the video and you cannot find it, then that means that you have to train 2 move checkmates, guys. That's really, really important. So the move here is check. Only move, the king cannot go to g1 because of the knight. So only move is to take with the pawn, and that opens up the rank for the rook. So queen h5, pawn takes, and then this very nice checkmate on h4. So there you have it, guys. Very short game, but there's a lot to learn from it. Here, I think Magnus was really young when he played this game, but you can see how strong he was already. With that said, guys, now you could take the amount of moves that you got correct, divide it by 12, multiply by 100, and then look at the table in front of you to see where your strength was. Like always, we're going to talk in the comments. I really want to know how you did, so let me know how it went. Let me know if you think this exercise was as good as the one that we went over in lesson number 75, if it was worse, the same. I really want to know. So with that said, guys, I'm going to see you in our next lesson.